Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then, following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China, he took silk and gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast, he took barrels of oil untold, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So, my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. America, we were living in the East.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV. Wow. I had the deepest sleep last night and woke up to the most incredible storm that you'd ever want to hear. And many of you know how a tin roof is. We have metal roofs. We're up in the mountains, and that thing was coming down so hard. I said, wait a second. I've experienced a hurricane before, but it wasn't like a hurricane. It was just rain coming straight down. And I was about to get up. My head hit that pillow for another 2 hours. That thing was so soothing to hear. It was so nice. And it wasn't scary. And so it hit me how powerful nature has an effect on us. I just want to welcome everyone on in who's coming in. There'll be more people filing in. Gina G. Welcome, my sister. Willie C. Holman Jr. That's a money name. That's an affluent name. That's a power name. Everyday King. That's right. You're a king every day. And Indigo King 1111. Always here. Much love to you, brother. We're here as family, all of us. Peaceful Pulley. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Joe A. Yes, I've been seeing you a lot, Joe A. Like I said, I'll always do these shows pretty much early on, which is right now it's 12:20 for me. I had a few things to do, but it always ends up being in the morning. This is not going to be a super long show. I apologize for last night. What was the name of the show I put? Turn Your Balls In. We had a sound issue, which wasn't really an issue, but it was just one lever on one of the modules that was pulled down. And I was freaking out. I was like, what is it? And there was no sound. There was nothing I can do. Or so I thought. So I said, you know what? Let me end that and I'll come back another day or another evening with that. That's not a show I would do first thing in the morning. I want to talk about important stuff now. I just don't want to talk about, we can continue to talk about the enemy. And when the enemy has something going on, we are going to talk about it. But we need to talk and speak on things that we can do within that we can change. A lot of channels are built up talking about this parasite and this spirituality. It ain't doing nothing. It's just a group of people gathered around just saying the same stuff every day. We need to talk about the real issues. It may not even be us per se. It might be somebody in our family. It might be a neighbor. It might be a stranger on public transportation that you kind of see something ain't right. And you can't see his hands. You don't know what's in his pocket. And I'm not saying that if someone has an issue, that it's going to be violent, because from what I'm hearing, less than 10% of those with mental illness may do something violent, but it's far the minority. Our folks need help. And because we've connected ourselves to something so artificial that's not for us, they may sugar it up and spice it up and make it seem good. But you become desensitized to your own people and to yourself. Listen, Kelly K, much love to you. She says that I lost my niece to suicide and she was only 11 years old. Oh my God. That one hurts. That one hurts. Harold Randolph, thank you for being here. New to the chat. Welcome on in. Oh man. 11 years old. Just understand that anything I say here today, it's not aimed at anyone specifically, or it's not aimed at anyone's situation. I think I do more talking in private with my family here in various, I'm not some professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm just that dude you can talk to. So since I know a lot about situations that are brought to me, I talk about things that I can talk about, because some of the people say, listen, you can talk about it, just keep my name out of it. Fine. And then there are things that I know, but I don't want anybody to think that when I'm talking here, it's because of something someone told me, because there will be lots of similarities. But Kelly K, I can't imagine what you, your family, your circle, whoever it is that's close, I don't know the dynamics exactly, what they went 11 years old, man, that messed me up. My heart goes out to you. My love goes out to you. My positive energy goes out to you. Everybody let's just be quiet for a moment, 30 seconds or something. They do it for them. Let's do it for us. The enemies do it for themselves and their so-called fallen soldiers. We need to do it for it, and this works. Kelly K, we're going to take a moment of silence and just think about your niece and send her energy, love, and comfort, because she has transitioned in a way that is painful, but her energy is still there and the love is still there. Come on, y'all. 30 seconds. Type something in the chat room too for Kelly K's niece. It's all love, y'all. See, this enemy has us so caught up in their distractions and their fights. We have our own challenges. And I say we don't have problems, but understand when I say challenges that we have the wherewithal within us to rise to the occasion and win and surmount it. And there will be sometimes, unfortunately, casualties in this stuff that we're going through. They expect us to concern ourselves about Palestine and Israel. And yes, I'm concerned about what's happening to innocent people. But also, too, from what I've learned, the black people in Palestine get treated like dirt. So I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm only talking about it for any spillover that can come and hurt us and affect us. I'm not caught up in that. You never see me do no show on no Russia and Ukraine. That's their fight. China exploits us. They try to be slick and side up to us in the hood so we can spend money on them. But they don't give a damn about us. And I gotta remember to put that videotape which speaks about the world situation, and I'm not a hypocrite by saying that, but it brought up some very interesting points that we can take with us for us. How the world systems are gonna collapse. And whichever way it goes, if and when World War III happens with bombs and fighting and invading countries, how the power in the world will be restructured in a way that the American media and the American government will never tell you. It's not looking good for them. But if we know a hurricane is coming, we can board up our windows. If we know a hurricane is coming, we can fill up our bathtub with water and get other drinkable water. If we know a hurricane is coming, we can have the batteries for our flashlights and little solar power gadgetry around with dry food and canned food that we can ourselves. And when they say canning, they mean put it in a bottle. But if you have no choice but to get cans of different things, this is survival. Start stocking up now, please. It may be where we have to leave our homes. So have a bag that's a bug out bag that has your toiletries, different things that are essential, and something that's not too big to carry some dried off food, some raisins, some oats, some nuts, some things that will keep you from being hungry. I'm not trying to scare nobody. Scared is when you're not prepared. See? And we had a show with Brother Dave that detailed all of those things for survival and preparedness, and I'm going to run it back probably as a live so we can get to those details again for us, things that we can do who may not have much money, but things that we can do that's staring us in the face, that we can do to make a big difference in our lives and for our families. But that's one thing. But I want to speak about this thing called suicide, and I will, on another program, finish up with schizophrenia and talk about that. But I said we'll do something along the same lines instead of running it back. I'm going to talk about this because there's so many things we talk about. Look, I don't care what Cardi B is doing. I don't care what Kim Kardashian is doing. I don't care what Paris Hilton is doing with all the money she got from her daddy. I don't care about them people. They ain't caring about us. Why do we give them so much energy? When I check the different trending websites to see what people are searching for, it's amazing to me to see what I see. The top 10. Let me go there now and just put myself to the test, right? Trending searches. Let's go. Let's just see. Let me see if what I say is the truth, because I see this every day because I go there every day. And most of the stuff I don't give a damn about, but I still check on to see what's okay. Number one. And I wanted to say, I didn't finish maybe, the top stuff is usually sports. And it's not just black people. I'm not saying anything about that with us, and we do that as a form of escapism, but the money in it with sports and the time that white America, let's just say it that way, we into our sports, but we 13% of the population in America, so it's not us driving these numbers up. So it's other people. And the top trending things now, which it hasn't come in for Monday yet. Obviously, because Monday's not done yet. But for Sunday, number one was the Packers, the football team. Packers fall to Broncos, 19-17. The Chiefs, Astros, number 4, Steelers, number 5, Buffalo Bills, number 6, Michigan football, number 7, Alabama football, number 8, Lions, number 9, Giants. Number 10, Tyson Bagent. Rookie Tyson Bagent leads Bears to win in first career start. ESPN. Number 11, Dolphins versus Eagles. Number 12, this is a general search and a tally, not a sports page, but what people are searching for in the United States. Number 12, Bijan Robinson. I'll be good next week. Running back Bijan Robinson. Explain. KC Chiefs. Number 13, F1, Lewis Hamilton and Charles disqualified. That's more, that's a racing thing. The only thing that ain't sports on the top 10, I went down to 14, is the number 15th, Bad Bunny, host Saturday Night Live. I don't know nothing about that. But back on number 16, Browns versus Colts. Number 17, India versus New Zealand in cricket. Okay, number 18 is a little different. Alabama. How many registered hunters live in Alabama? The rest is sports, y'all. Is that what we live for? Or is that what they live for? And to me, when it's like that, when the world is going as nuts as it is, not that we are supposed to live in fear, but that's escapism. And there are suicides, and others have suicides. But see, they stole the land, got it for free, got free labor. I ain't paying them no mind. They have every advantage while we're sitting here like a used tool, not reaping the benefits of all of the hundreds of years that our fathers and mothers and ancestors put in. Oh, there you go, talking about that damn slavery. Yes, I'm talking about it. Because if you have a mother and father and they pass a transition and they have lots of property, where does it go? Especially when it's paid for. It goes to you. See, they don't have no problem receiving stolen goods. They have it now. And they're sporting it in your face now. And we got to work for their companies and their hierarchies. And we have nothing. And we're supposed to be quiet about that? We understand. And we can't wait for reparations. But we already starting out on a deficiency because our souls know what happened. We feel it. It's in our DNA. And we have to be stressed and can't walk the way we need to walk because we know. You know what it's like? You know what it's like to have talents and abilities that are not even acknowledged? You have a strength and a greatness inside of you, but you can't even execute and excavate those things to benefit you because you're on the level of survival. I always say, you can't go after your dreams if you're in a survival mode. You can't go after your dreams if you're worried about the next plate of food or 3 more days you got to pay rent. When your bank account is overdrawn, no, don't pay me to my bank account, direct deposit. I'm $400 short. Give me the check and let me cash it. We know them games and how to get around certain things. But you know what it's like to have this thing inside of you, and the only time when it's utilized is when someone else for their system wants to use our talents and abilities, and they die with our money in their pocket. And the schools don't teach us about finances. They give us a little piece here and there. And then we put these programs on and we look at them and we don't understand it. What I'm trying to say is that this world is not kind to us. How's a mailman going to deliver the mail when the dog is biting him around the ankle? So we have to move forward and do the things that we have to do to survive and try to live. We're alive, but are we living? It's almost like we see other people doing things and I'm not watching other people. But we're on these jobs and we see some coworkers who might have a higher position with more money. Oh, you know, me and my husband, Brad, we're going to Italy. We have a summer house out there and it was so nice, you know, getting away from it all. And you got to sit there with this smile on your face, knowing that You should be living too. Not that you want what somebody has, but you understand the system and how it came down. They ain't going to acknowledge it. I had to work hard like anybody else, and you can too, and you people are always complaining. Well, switch it up. You'll do more than complain. You'll drop dead. Unbelievable. So we have to endure so much. The conditions that are normal for most of us, even those of us who are making it, you have to ask yourself, and even if it's not you and you're not in this situation, how many paychecks are you away from being on the curb? You ain't got to answer it here. And for the people who are out there listening, I say, don't front. I don't want it to be that way for you, but don't front. And I'm going to say, while I love the thought of being in nature, while I love the thought of being away from America, there was also another reason that I saw in my trajectory. I said, there's things I got to do. There's businesses I want to start. How am I going to accomplish these things on the treadmill? I ain't rich. I ain't wealthy. Maybe one day I will be, but I'm not even focusing on that. I'm focusing on unearthing what the Creator gave to me, which might bring me something, but I have to do this. It's bigger than money. So I couldn't be focused on the mortgage and the taxes and the repair, the hot water heater, it broke, and there's a leak in the roof, and the car, it's some little dent, little noise. I got to fix that. And the transmission, and oh yeah, I got sick, and I took time off of work. Oh, I only got two more weeks of time off of work. I'm in the hospital. Not that I was, right? I'm just painting the picture. And then you ask for time off. You ask for time off, and you sick with a doctor's note, and they still take the time off of you while you've accumulated sick time. No, I'm not playing that game. I'm getting the hell up on out of here. That was my personal decision because it was also financial. Let's sell this house and take what we got and build something where we ain't got to pay for it no more. Buy the land where we ain't got to pay for it no more. And what little pennies I get every month for making them little BITCHs pay me because I'm of age now and I got my little piece of pension. I'll start from there, and I still don't have much. But I trust and believe and know in my ability to have a work ethic, to have a brain, to think, to get the monkey off my back. I love my people in America. This is why I'm sitting here talking about it now. I'm talking about my family, you guys, some who I may not have ever heard your voice. I may not have ever seen you on a face-to-face call. And even in America, maybe we didn't meet yet. I didn't get a chance to hug you or give you the fist bump or sit down at lunch and talk with you. And if one day I come back, I won't announce it ahead of time. You know, planes sometimes drop out the sky. But if I get there in a coded way, I'll say, hey, I want to come through a few different states. I want to meet my family there. I ain't going to blast it. I'm going to take a lot of video and I won't play it until I get back. I ain't stupid. Because there was a lot of people in agencies love to see me messed up. But how are we going to go after our dreams, our goals, our aspirations, week after week after week after week? And we understand sacrifice, and we understand seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you're going down the tunnel and there is no light, what are you going to do? Perception. And I had my little scrolly thing going on down here. So I said, well, let me knock this off. And I just put suicide. But what do you see there? Behind the clouds, the sun never stops shining. Right there under suicide on the banner. Behind the clouds, the sun never stops shining. I say it a different way, but that's kind of like something I say all the time. And you got to know that you see clouds in your life. That's a perception, but it's very much real to you when you find or feel that you don't have a way out. See? The clouds are forever when you're in that state of mind, when you're feeling depressed, when things are overwhelming you. It's already bad enough that to seek help, therapy, somebody to talk to. And I said this on the show yesterday, that we don't want to do it. I ain't crazy. I ain't crazy. But those stresses are there. You're not crazy, but you're feeling cramped. You're feeling boxed in. And when the clouds move away, as they will, like that never-ending traffic jam that you're sitting up in, and you knew you should have went to the bathroom to tinkle or do a number two before you left, but now you're in trouble. Eventually it moves. You come back through that intersection later on and say, man, it was all packed up this morning, but look at it now, just driving free. But if you didn't understand how traffic works, the next person next to you that gave you the finger for not letting them in, you would have jumped up and shot them. Perception, how we see things, how we see our life. And I looked at my life and I said, I'm 57 and a half years old. I don't think I'm going to work till 70 as this system will have, or maybe even more, because I have a mortgage that's going to last, how many more years, right? And then Social Security may or may not be there. I'm hoping it will be, because I'm going to take that money. I work for it, but I can't depend on it, because I want to spend from 60 and beyond being that dude that can wake up and say, listen, let me work on what my job is on this earth. And if I can just be able to eat, be able to sleep with peace of mind, be able to have a little something while I'm in this system, because I'm still in the system. It's not when I dropped off on the plane and all of a sudden, oh, my brother, welcome, we have a house for you. We had to pay for this. And it ain't finished yet. I'm going month by month. And there's a lot of people out here mad at me. Oh, look at that. I ain't getting no cash out. I ain't getting no PayPal. Look, he done went out there and got him a mansion. But this was in my mind from years ago. You see how it is? When you one of the slaves on the damn plantation and you've been telling people, let's get together and slip out of here after midnight. Oh, man, you go ahead with that, man. I ain't going to do that. And you do it and you're successful. And you find out that that one who escaped is up north. Not that up north is no better, but that's where the free people were. Freer. Racism was still there, right? Now you mad at him. Who you think you, man? You got to, well, shoot. You have a vision, you go after it. No matter what anybody says, you have to feel as though not only is there hope, but that you can do it. And no matter what you go through, the clouds, behind the clouds, the sun never stops shining. I'm going to read off some statistics and facts and a piece of another article like I've been doing. But I just want to be motivational for a little while and maybe a little bit after, because I've been through some rough times. I don't even tell all the things I've been through, but I've been through some rough times. That's why I can't not be real. I can't put my nose up in the air to anybody. I can't put my ass up on my shoulders to anybody. I've been stung so much in that system, because of the system and because of the people, some of them, people you trust, people you would have done anything for, people you would have caught a bullet for. You loved them so much, and they were sitting up there next to you, hating you, wanting to be you. I'm trying to be a better me. I'm not trying to be the me of today or yesterday. I'm not good enough. I'm trying to be better. I'm not trying to throw off on anybody with any false pretenses. What am I going to brag about the car I have? I ain't got no car. I go out here and ride the Trotro. That's what they call it. Trotro. For a couple of CDs. That's the equivalent of the dollars. With the common folk. I'm up near a village now. Folks walk around with a big things on the head, carrying everything, whatever. This ain't no megalopolis, metropolis, or whatever. Down in the main city it is, but I'm in country. We just recently had a street light put up in front. And when you're way out in the country, you have to pay for it, although the government pays for the light. It's a half and half kind of thing. But if nobody's living there, ain't nobody putting up no street lights, so there's not too many houses up here. So if I was to walk, not even to the main road, it's a 2-lane road, and I'd say it's about maybe the equivalent of maybe 6 or 7 houses that would be there in that space, but it's not. By the time you walk away from the light of that street light that's in front of this house, it's pitch black at night. I told you about that story when I had to walk them 15 miles and the van took me all the way down there and I didn't see nothing. I'm quite sure there's nobody in America that saw darkness like that. I don't care if you live in Mississippi, New Orleans, and them areas. You ain't never seen nothing like this. I had to think, I said, oh God, it tested my strength walking down 15 miles, hearing all kind of wild animals. Fog that wasn't fog because we're up in the clouds, trees. But in life, my test came emotionally, and I could have decided to do what this show is all about. Now, I just can't grasp the pain of what our sister just shared with us with an 11-year-old. That I can't even begin to. I'm trying to comprehend that. A little girl. And so when these things start to happen like this, many will put blame, and I wouldn't do that. There's a lot of good comments that I've missed because I was off that screen. Let me just say, Vaughn had said, I lost an uncle to suicide. We had no clue that he was in this state. My sister was pregnant with his child when this happened. It was so sad. Wow. You see, so many of us, we just don't open up. And I'm not blaming those who have committed. I don't even want to say the word. It's damn, I'm at a loss for words. Let me start reading off some of these things that I wanted to read off. Here's an article from everydayhealth.com. I'll put it in the description area below, and on LANCESCURV, I'll probably just put the whole thing there on the page, the corresponding page for the show. And when you share these links, make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com and share it on the site. So I want more participation there. Thousands and thousands of videos, hundreds and hundreds of written word, hundreds of illustrations and different things. That's the Grand Central Station, the main street of LANCESCURV, 22.5 years. I'm coasting now. No, I'm not coasting. Y'all know I'm not coasting. What I'm saying, it feels like, wow, I got so much work like that behind me. So now we got to focus on the real stuff. Not that it wasn't real before, but I'm not dealing with no riffraff. I'm not dealing with no egos. I'm not dealing with those who want to use and get out of here. This is what I'm doing, and we're going to do it right. The name of the article is 5 Reasons Suicide is on the Rise in the Black Community, according to a psychiatrist. Suicide rates are climbing in Black communities around the United States. Psychiatrist Patrice Harris, MD, a former president of the American Medical Association, discusses what factors may be driving this increase. So I'm taking it that this was a sister, but they're focusing on the 5 reasons, top reasons why suicide is on the rise in the Black community. 2 devastating losses to suicide in the Black community marked the beginning of 2022. The deaths of attorney, former Miss USA activist, and entertainment news correspondent Chelsea Christ, and of up-and-coming DJ and songwriter Ian King Jr., who was also the son of Academy Award-winning actress Regina King. The deaths of Chris and King sent shockwaves through the Black community and among fans at large. Both were young. Chris was 30, and King had just turned 26 just days before taking his life. Both were successful and appeared to have the world at their fingertips. Sadly, Chris and King are not alone. Their deaths have shed light on an ongoing and alarming issue: increasing rates of suicide among Black Americans. Between 2014 and 2019, rates of suicide among Black people in the United States increased by 30%, according to data published in May 2021 in JAMA Network Open. Those links you can get when I put the article out. A report published in November of 2021 by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention showed that although the overall rate of suicide in the United States decreased by 3% in 2020, the rate of suicide actually increased amongst many men of color. Oh, they're trying to be politically correct. Men of color, let's just say it, including Black men. So is it just Black men, right? Does this include Black women, Black children? So we have to go and do a double research on this. And they say during this time, between 2011 and 2020, the suicide rate among Black men was 3 times that of Black women. The Suicide Prevention Resource Center reports. And that tells me something. But we'll talk about that after I read the article. Equally alarming, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health found that suicide was the second leading cause of death among Black people ages 15 to 24 in 2019. You heard me? The second leading cause of death among Black people ages 15 to 24 in 2019. That's 4 years ago. That's the other day. Why am I hearing social media? I'm kind of hearing social media for a reason. And according to a report released in December 2019 by the Congressional Black Caucus's Emergency Task Force on Black Youth Suicide and Mental Health, suicide is also the second leading cause of death for Black youths ages 10 to 19. The second leading cause of death. We're not talking about a stray bullet. Maybe so. What was the first one? I don't know. But it's not always stray bullets. It's not always us shooting each other. Car accidents, yeah. Drug overdoses, yeah. But the second consistent between 10 and 19? So just like our sister shared with us that her 11-year-old niece, I don't even want to say the word. I'm reading the article. I'm not in the chat room. I'm not seeing that screen, y'all. So just bear with me. I'll come back. I'm just reading this article. I'm just going to check real quick. This is not easy to read this stuff, man, because this is real. And you know how I know it's real? I talk to so many people who listen to this show. There's so many things, not just suicide. Family members at HIV. They say, Lance, I want you to talk to my nephew. Yes, he's not heterosexual. And I'm like, it's okay, I'll talk to him. Lance, my brother has cancer and he's on his last leg in hospice. Could you talk to him? And I'm like, what? Where the hell are your pastors at? I don't say that, y'all. I'm just saying. And we have these groups that make these studies. Let me roll up. Okay, look. The Congressional Black Caucus's Emergency Task Force of Black Youth Suicide and Mental Health. I bet you them bastards are getting paid out the ass to have a title. Why don't we take some of that money? Why don't we take some of that time and get out in the community and deal with people real life? Why don't we have centers set up? It doesn't have to be a big, shiny floor place with bright lights. If I don't understand it. If I had an apartment building in a Black neighborhood, I am going to donate one of those apartments to something like this. And I'm going to demand that the professionals that live, not just in my building, in all the buildings, donate some of their time for a reduction in their rent. I'm a dummy and I can come up with solutions where when you go there, you can be the go-between, the middleman for other help. And why can't we, as a collective in the community, we're not asking for anything from anybody else, take 2% of our salary, 2%. And I mean, not to hook up nobody in no glossy job, but everybody donates something so we can be self-healing. You get a cut. Your body doesn't say, well, you know, to heal that cut's going to be $5 that you got to give me, or else you're just going to bleed to death. No, the body is self-healing. What about the body of us? The body of the African Black community worldwide? Why can't we be self-healing as we should be? Do you see those people who are over there fighting Palestine? Kanye West's people that he had a problem with? Do they knock your door to ask you for help for their community? No. They exploit us enough. They shouldn't have to. Entertainment in Hollywood, right? But so many people are self-healing. The communities. Yes, our community is damaged and we're screwed up in the head. And I was just in a conversation last night. And I love all of you who are here and many beyond who are here. People got to work, they sleep, they get laid, they on vacation, whatever they're doing. Everybody's not here right now. But for those lower vibrational entities who just don't get it, it just makes you want to damn quit sometime. Because they ain't hearing us. So those of us who are in the chat room who are aware of things and others across other platforms, be about it and do what you got to do. There's so many times in my life I didn't have a soul to help me. And I held on. There's so many times in this life that I had to wait for decades to get to a certain point financially. Huh? You make the wrong choice in a marriage and they end up using you for a green card. Having all the babies with you and turn it around when you're taking for child support. And you've been a good daddy, giving up everything. And you realize that they had somebody else in the wings, but they were using you. That's enough to make you go on a killing spree and maybe even take your own life. I said, okay, I'm going to take this one. Okay, you hit me in the face. You hit me with a left jab. You hit me with a hook. You hit me with a right cross. You kick me in my balls. I'm hurting. I'm falling. I'm tired. Sweat's getting in my eyes, stinging, but you ain't going to whip me. So where does my intensity come from? It's a long time coming. This ain't no yesterday, oh, I want to get on YouTube and make me a channel and see if I can make some money and have people listen to me and I can get famous and so bullshit. I'm coming with a momentum that will not be stopped until I draw my last breath. And best believe, if it's possible, I'm going to haunt somebody. I'm going to be a ghost to somebody because that energy ain't going away. What's driving the rise in suicides among Black Americans? Number one, social media ramps up pressure to fit in. This is why I was hearing that before we started. I know what they're going to say. I'm going to say it. I'm going to add on something to it. Social media is undeniably pervasive and has made society incredibly voyeuristic, says Dr. Harris, as it's given people nearby unlimited access to view others' lives online. This can make people feel pressured to conform to an ideal. And pressure associated with social media is one potential cause of increased suicides among Black people, Harris says. Unfortunately, we've seen increased suicide numbers in Black people, particularly the youth, over the last decade, she says. Although there is no one casual factor for this, it is important to remember that we live in an age where most people are connected to social media, which comes with the pressure to create an image like we're living perfect lives. This is especially true for our young people who might feel extreme pressure to live a certain kind of life or compete with their peers' appearance. According to Harris, this kind of pressure can negatively affect one's sense of self-worth, identity, and sense of belonging, especially among young people. Harris says that cyberbullying, which has become increasingly common among preteens and teens because of social media, is likely another contributing factor for the increased numbers of suicides in the Black community around the country. A recent study published in September of 2021 in the Journey of Early Adolescence found that cyberbullying is a common form of bullying experienced by Black adolescents. Another study published in 2020 in the American Journal of Psychiatry, I'm messing up, a Mike Tyson moment, revealed that being a victim of cyberbullying was associated with increased suicidal ideation, maybe that's a typo, among both Black and white study participants, with texting and social media being the most common places in which cyberbullying occurred. We just talk about that one point. We're like the peeping nation. We peeping at each other, looking at each other, sizing ourselves up on each other. Dudes looking at porn, looking at the long dongs and feeling that their thing is too short. Women looking and thinking they too fat. Is my butt big in this dress? How I look? Everybody comparing, everybody to, no. I gotta say that one of the reasons why that doesn't get me that way is because of young, I had a sense of myself. My parents put that into me from young. You are unique and you're to be unique. You don't follow behind nobody. You don't think that you're less. Everybody has different talents. You have talents that are unique unto yourself and by the way you present yourself. So work on you. I come from that era. I'm not saying it's the fault of the youngsters that go through with this act. I don't want to say the name, it's the titles right there on the banner. I just don't want to keep echoing that word. But today it's a cookie cutter situation. Oh, that's the new hairstyle. I got to copy that. Oh, that's the new style. And we used to say that back in the day. But when we had it back in the day, we would get the new style and put a slant on it. If you go into the barber shop and everybody got a part on the left side of their head, you want to put it on the right side. You know what I mean? You want to do things unique. And that was the thing. Even in elementary school, middle school, high school, you did your school shopping. And when you got your outfits, you didn't just want to get what everybody else had. You run into your buddies in the store getting clothes and you might be something you want. Oh, you bought that already? I ain't getting that. I want to get something unique. I don't want to be like everybody else. You are you and I am me. And I appreciate you for who you are. And I appreciate me for me. I got pride. I'm not saying anybody who has lost their life to this doesn't. Again, I'm not throwing off on anybody. I'm just talking about the personal factors that I know about. And social media. Imagine the torturous years. And I say torturous, they're wonderful years, but when you're coming up 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, it hits us all different. The insecurities are there. And we measure up. You know, if a guy's chubby, man, I want to lose weight. If a guy's arms are real skinny and they see a guy his age group with muscular arms, he might say, man, I need to start working out. And all kinds of things. And see, we don't know the state of mind that somebody is in. We don't know. Most of the time, these people will do this and there were no signs. So something inside from within was percolating and heating up. I always say, and I ended up saying on every show now, you go to grandma's house and go and play in her yard and you lift up that big rock that you never lifted before and you see all these insects under there. You didn't know it. You were sitting there the other day next to it eating lunch. You didn't know you were sitting next to all these bugs that were under this thing, big long bugs, all kind of millipedes looking at you. They all want to bite you. So when we sit with people and talk with them and around them and vibe with them, we really don't know what they're feeling because Maybe it was the same before, but because of the pressures from within, it hits more now because most people, hey, how you doing? How you doing today? We're talking about a close person. How you doing? Oh, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's okay. Because we don't want to seem weak. We don't want to act like we're throwing in the towel from the fear of that person saying to somebody else, oh, you know what I heard they going through, whatever. So we hold it in. And then lots of times we don't have, like, I'm not speaking about the children, I'm speaking about the grown adults now. Because who knows what trauma they perceive or actually going in. Perception is everything. If Mr. Scurv came outside, maybe I'm outside working, and she's outside in the yard, right? Because she's always in the yard. He ran inside. Lance, there are 10 men out there, and they got machine guns. Listen, what are we going to do? And I'm looking at her like, this ain't no joke. I might not have 10 machine guns. I may have something that might compare as a pop gun to them. But as a man, if you're going to come in and kill me like that, I'm going to have to meet you back and hope I have good aim. And I'm roused up. She turned around to my April Fools joke. If I had a weak heart, my perception of what she told to me that I thought was reality would make me have a heart attack on the spot. And like I say, perception is just as strong when you perceive something to be a certain way. And it doesn't have to be something as cataclysmic as that. It can be that low, slow burn stuff. The bills. Maybe not feeling as attractive as you were because you're working overtime and you eating out of the little box there, the little break room, apple pie and Coca-Cola thing. You ain't getting no sleep. You're getting bloated. Your period's coming. Or if you a dude, the pants are getting tighter. You always took care of yourself, but now you don't even want to see yourself. Little things that add up. You break into the room where you see your son, who might be 10 years old. He tongue kissing the next boy. These things will stress you. What the hell are you doing? There's things that I've heard about. I'm like, twisted some stuff. This has nothing to do with it. I got to tell you, I'm always going to give a little commercial break with a joke. Lady told me during the COVID time, which I was out here, but in communication with many like I am now. It's like I'm still there in America because I talk to you all the time. I do the shows every day and we talk. Not every day with certain people, but reach out and I'm gonna hit you back. Lady told me, one of my passengers, when I used to drive in Orlando, and it was a grandson. Circumstances in the family, she had to take over. The daughter was not doing too good, so the father was gone, and he took on, a grandson. Grandson in his room. Grandson, how is the grandson about? 15, 16 years old. So she called me up and she was distraught. She was stressed. And she had never called me before. So for a second, I'm like, who? Because it didn't have a number locked in with the name. So I realized who it was. And she told me that, her grandson would usually go in the room with a couple of the friends or whatever. So he was in there with another boy. And so she wanted to knock the door. I mean, she would just open the door. She knocked it and opened it. And there they were. The grandson was on all fours, arched back, and the friend was behind him and they had no clothes on. Okay, you know what they were doing. You know what she told me? It was terrible. I was so traumatized. I couldn't believe that they didn't have their mask on. What? What? That's all you were traumatized about? That they weren't wearing a mask? It didn't bother you that your grandson's Duke shoot was getting torn up? unprotected at that. That didn't bother you. No, that didn't bother you. They'd be in your household doing that. What bothered you was that they didn't have a mask. So this fear and propaganda put out makes us feel like, oh my God, I got to wear the mask. You can eat bad, have unprotected sex, do all kind of stuff. Oh, but the mask. Ain't nobody wearing no mask. Some of y'all are. But you see how media, social media, engineered things that are put out there can affect us to the point where we see the world different than what it really is. Perception is everything. So when we talk to people and they may say they're all right, find out what their perception is of their life. You have to find out how they see the world, because the way they see the world is not the way you see the world. You happy and jolly, you just got paid and you got some money, tax return money and your paycheck, and you already done paid the bills for that month. You just happy-go-lucky walking down the street. And you assume that other people are happy-go-lucky? Their ribs are touching, they want something to eat. They may smile with you, but don't think they're feeling the same way you are, because now, for a little while, you're ahead of the game in the system, in the treadmill. Perception. How do you perceive the world? Don't just take that, I'm all right. Don't even say, well, listen, get to it. I know there's more to it. You're going to make them clam up more. Spend time with family members. Spend time with your youth. Reinforce them. Let them know they're beautiful. Okay, you say you want to lose a little weight. It's okay. In a couple of months, you will. Let's do this together, because you know what? I got to lose a little weight too. So let's change our eating habits and let's become a support system for each other. Let's take pictures of what we look like now. We feel like we're fat, but you know what? We're going to be proud to show those pictures months from now when we slim down. But know right now you're beautiful. You just have to lose that little bit that you want to lose because of your health. But you, as you are now, you are beautiful, and I accept you and I love you for who you are. And you don't have to change anything for me to love you, because I'm going to love you no matter what. Keep saying that and keep showing it. You see? Because there's a lot of us now. I don't know if I could live as a 13, 14-year-old if we had social media back then. The pressure, y'all. I mean, it was a break when we left school. We might call one of our friends with her, but it was all over until we went to school the next day. I didn't see up in their house. I didn't see the new car their daddy bought. I didn't see how nice their living room was. And it's the things you got to remember, for those who are adults, and more so in a higher chronological age. Think back. If you can really think back, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all in there. What was important to you at that time? I bet you can't really remember as well. There were things that were important to you that when you look back, if somebody was to remind you, you would say they were insignificant. But at that point, your perception of the world, those things were important to you. So stop dismissing our adolescents and youth for the things that are important to them, because it can devastate them. Don't just, oh, you're sorry, they're making fun of you, ha, 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 just get over it. No, you got to face your peers now. It's different. It's amplified more now. I haven't checked the chat room. Let me see. Let me just make sure everything's running smooth. Sugar candy sparkles. Let me pull this table down and sit down a little bit. I feel like one of them senior citizens that got them that little railing up the side of the steps, and they can hitch up their little wheelchair to it and picks it up. I got one of them tables that you push the button, lowers and picks up. Boy, because I sit by this desk so much, I don't always want to sit down. So far I've been standing up. I'm going to sit down right now. Yeah. Libby Lou, how are you? Sugar candy sparkles. I'm going to use that. Anybody who came in the chat room, if I missed you, I wasn't looking at the chat room. I was looking at the article. I see everybody. Lady J, Kwame, Chrissy, Gina G. You know I know you're there. Libby Lou, Kayla K. Yes, I'm going to put your comment up. Kayla K said, you're right, Lance. Positive affirmations toward those we love and spending time with our family members are things we must never forget to do. You're so right. We had that more in abundance before we had our minds taken away. We could be sitting at the same dinner table and we're in our own world with our phone. We can use it for something positive, but that thing is addictive. That's like saying, I'm going to the gym and I ate my food, but I need a little energy boost. I'm going to smoke a little crack before the workout. It's too much. It's not good for you. And I know people, I used to be a bodybuilder training in the gym. Dudes would go in the back and sniff coke before the workout. They wanted to not have any cravings for as much food, and they wanted to boost up everything, their metabolism, so they can lose more body fat. Ain't that something? You getting into something for health, and you using street drugs to look a certain way. And they look fabulous with the steroids and the cocaine, and yeah, for a little while. Now, I'm not high on myself or anything, but you know what? I'm going to say it this way. I'm not ashamed. They don't look as good as me now. I'm 60 years old. They were looking 60 from when they were about 30, 32. Longevity. Longevity. But as I said before on the banner, and I'm going to have the scrolly go across again, behind the clouds, the sun never stops shining. There are many of us who thinks the sun doesn't exist anymore when the clouds are covering the sun. And those are the people that we have to reach out to. Some of us are wired a certain way. Now, let me just say, a child is not prepared for some of these stresses or whatever it is that cause them in their perception to do certain things to themselves to end their life. But those of us who get a little older, we have a little more to grab onto. And we could still be stressed to that point and our perceptions off. What about the woman? I'm just making stuff up, y'all. I just want to drive a point home because I got more points to read. What about a woman who met a man that she just knew was the one? And he proved it beyond the shadow of a doubt. And they both were working. They both had career aspirations outside of working a dead-end job. So she said to herself, listen, we're young enough. We're going to have children in a couple of years in their early 20s. I'm going to support you to go to school first in a specific career that he knew he was going to do. And he probably had some hookup later on. Get out of school. You got a job right here paying good. So she said, okay. So she worked double time and he went to school. He came home to study. He didn't work. Years and years, and he kept going to school even more so. Okay, 2 more years. Okay, another year for this. Then they started to have children. And he started to work. And yes, he was making good money and bringing it in. But after those children had a couple years on them, she realized and overheard she was sleeping in the bed and he was in the next room. He cut the TV off that was masking the sound of his conversation. And she found out that for years he had been planning to leave her after he got what he wanted, to be with this other one he was using the wife for to be with. And then a couple days go by and he finds her in the room, gone. I understand that. But if she had sisters or brothers or parents or friends that were close to her, that she can open up to, we got to stop holding back information when we're going through stuff. I have friends that I can cry to in the middle of the night. When my perceptions are off, I have a support system. Don't think I'm some Superman. The times I thought I was, that's when the time came when I realized I wasn't. But I am a little strong. But I have sympathy for those who may not have had the background in their upbringing that I had. And it's still been challenging for me. There was a time when I went to the front window of my house in New York and I looked out of the window and I said, my God, when is all of this going to be over? As soon as one thing ends, here comes another one. As soon as one thing begins to end, it stops and it never ends, and another one joins it. Sometimes there's three major things going on. And our minds loop over and over and over. We're not even thinking about a solution. We can't get out of the rut. Bad rainstorm and you park the car to run in somewhere, and you run back out in this mud out there and you trying to get out the thing. And the tires are turning. You got a white dress outfit on. You gonna go out there, nobody else is there with you. You gonna go find a brick and put it under the tire? You're gonna be all dirty now. You can't even go to your function. There are situations that feel so impossible. And we're trying to figure it out for ourselves because of the taboo situation of even asking for help. And I'm going to spank people in general. Some of y'all are so caught up in your damn world that you can't even look beyond it to see that somebody needs help. So many of you are caught up in accruing more junk that nobody gives a damn about you getting. They're probably jealous that you got the junk. The junk ain't going to be important 10 years from now. I mean, hell, who's going to be calling LANCESCURV's name 100 years from now? So I don't care about that. I'm going to be immortal. I'm going to live on YouTube forever. I'm putting my image out there and I will be famous. I ain't famous yet after 22 and a half years of doing this, so I must have another reason for doing it. I don't study this stuff. I'll read something off an article, but I'm talking to you all real. I could do that on any subject every day because I've been through all the shit in the world every time. And if it wasn't me going through something specific, I know somebody who taught me lessons through their own experiences, and I pass them along. We're too worried and concerned about our own stuff to know when somebody, look, what's crumbs for you could be a whole meal for someone else. And they're too embarrassed to say they're hungry. And I'm not just speaking about food. I'm speaking about that moral support, to feel connected. You know how many people feel disconnected? You know how many people feel as though they have no one? I used to feel that way after my parents' transition. I got a brother who, smoking his crack and 11 years older than me. He don't care. He don't care about me. He's into his crack. But I love him. And I shed tears for that relationship and I care for him, but the drug made him a monster and took him over. That's what helped to kill my mother when she realized that, hate to say it, but ain't no hope with him. I inherited that pain. Last time I saw him was 1998 by chance on 26th Street and Broadway. No, 26th Street and 7th Avenue. Right by that McDonald's, by chance. I was having my Lincoln Town car washed and detailed down the block, and I ran into him. He still tried to hit me up for $5. We all have things that bug us and keep tapping us on the shoulder. Like the movie, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Certain things and certain crosses you're going to have to bear for a long time while still surviving. Right? See? Those of us who are up on our feet and have a modicum of emotional stability and strength, tithe that. Tithe that. Whatever you have in abundance, chop it down some and share some of that bad boy. And we ain't talking about just money. Because most of us are a couple of paychecks behind being homeless. More or less. Might be 6 months, might be 2 years. 2 years is too short, yo. We need to set ourselves up and stop running after these damn trinkets of baubles and rubies. It'll be pieces of junk later on and not going to serve you right. Set yourself up. How the hell you going to get rims on a vehicle that costs $5,000 and your refrigerator is too small to hold a week's worth of food? You know what I mean? And you got a family. Put it where it needs to be. Invest in yourself. Invest in others. Help other people get over the hump. Doesn't mean just financially. Encourage the hell out of them. I'm not saying they have hell in them, but be there for them. Let them see it. Drop a call. Show up. Or just, hey, what are you doing on Saturday? It could be Thursday, Wednesday, right? What are you doing? I'm not doing nothing. Well, come on. I'm going to the movies. Even if you didn't plan on it, you say you going, but you're going to take them. You coming with me, we're going to eat something. And you just walk around downtown, walk around, talk, laugh, gauge the person, feel them out. You might be saving a life. Maybe toward the end of that evening, the beautiful evening that it is, tears may fall when they thank you for such a wonderful evening. And when those tears come down, you realize there's a little more going on, and you hug them and say, listen, I want us to really talk. It doesn't have to be now, but if you want it to be now, it can be now. I'm not asking you anything. I just want you to talk to me. Because we had a wonderful night tonight, but I kind of sensed that you were feeling some things. Now, you don't have to tell me the whole story. You don't have to tell me the details of whatever it may be. It may not even be something concrete. It may be just a feeling you have. But I want you to come around me. And you're not always going to frame it as I'm helping you, because people are going to reject it sometimes. So you got to join on with that mentality to help excavate what's inside of them. And you say, not only that, but I'm kind of going through something. And I need you. You're precious to me. And I need you to help me with something. You see, sometimes when a person feels needed, and this ain't no book I'm talking from, I'm talking about life. It gives them a boost like, wow, she really needs me. She really values my opinion. He or she really values my opinion. Wow. That will give them the strength. And you let them know, listen, with what you want to speak to me on, if you want to speak to me on, hold on. I need you. That might be Wednesday. Thursday night or Friday morning, you call them, listen, we still going to get together on Saturday, right? Maybe we don't go out. Maybe we'll come by the place, my place, your place, whatever the circumstances allow, because you don't want nobody else around. And you talk and sip a little tea. All right, now come on, let's take a little walk downtown. Once you kind of know what it is, it may not be going downtown. It might be going to sit in the park. Quiet. Make them laugh. Make them think, make them reminisce, make them see their value. Assess them in a positive way and go down the list. First of all, you have a wonderful personality. I couldn't imagine my life without having you in my life. Those little jokes that you share, those little smirks when something's funny but you didn't tell me yet and somebody you're laughing at. The way you cook that meal that I ate, nobody cooked fish like that. Doesn't have to be big things. Build them up. Project for them. Because the clouds might be blocking the sun in their life. So you got to be the sun. Right? When you're doing photography and you're outside and the sun is bright and there's not a cloud in the sky, the sun is the perfect light. It's full range. It's the best makeup. Don't need no filters. But when you're doing photography on the inside and you don't have the sun and it's nighttime, you're going to have to manipulate those soft lights and those projected lights and those rear lights, all those lights that will emulate the sun but could never be exactly that. So when they're feeling gloomy and the clouds are blocking their vision of their life, you have to be the sun for them. It doesn't always mean money. So what about the families? Let's just jump out of that. Seems like the child is going through stuff. And maybe the father and mother don't live together, but the father comes around once a week to take them out or do something. And the father comes around to the daughters and the sons and say, well, you know, I can't do anything. I've got something to do with business out of town. I got to get ready and I can't spend as much time. But you know what? Here's $1,000 for all of you. That's nice. Only if they had their daddy. So money's not a replacement. And this is something I just want to throw out there in general. I only read 1 point. I got 4 more to go. But there are so many women that I've talked to. And again, I'm not speaking about anybody specific here. There's a lot of overlap. That didn't have a proper relationship with their father. And lots of times the father was there in the household, but he was distant emotionally. And he did all the right things as far as taking care of the bills and supporting the family. He wasn't beating the mama, wasn't cheating on the mama, wasn't doing nothing bad, but he was just emotionally unavailable. And there are women who are grown in their 30s and 40s and almost 50 who, because of that, have issues with feeling as though they're worth it because of the father's issue that had nothing to do with the child that caused a ripple effect throughout that family and those individuals. You see how sensitive all of these different factors are? And I always say it, I haven't said it much here, but life is like a knot. You tie up your sneakers and you tie it up too much in the wrong way or something, and it knots up, and it's hard to untangle that knot. Your knot may not be like my knot. Tangled yarn. You got to find the end of it and just start slowly. And I have patience for that. So I'm always good with untangling things. So Lance, untangle this. Or Lance, this is how, oh, don't worry. I got it. Because I got that kind of methodical mind. But when it's your own stuff and you have that knot in your life from something that you already know what it is. And you know as an adult that, well, you know, he had issues growing up, so it's not me, but it's him, but I'm still feeling it. That will affect the kind of relationships that you have as a grown woman and as a grown man, if it's the opposite, if you didn't have the motherly thing. And even the same sex, the daughter with the mother, the father, the son with the father. These things have an effect on us as we get older. And they solidify. It's like walking past wet concrete on the sidewalk, and they got all the barriers, all the little red flags. Ain't nobody looking, and you take your finger and scribble your name in there. If the person who put the concrete down knew, he'd come out when you're going to smooth it out because it's easy to do so. It's easy to correct when it's young. But if you let that thing harden, it's still going to operate as a sidewalk, but you got that name scribbled in there. Person might be dead and gone 30 years from now, but the name is still there. The father may have transitioned long years ago, but the effects of him not loving you the way you needed is still there. And it's worse if you don't even realize it, because you'll settle for any male companionship, any type of male in your life, just to feel like somebody loves you. You'll allow yourself to be taken advantage of sexually, knowing in the back of your mind, this man don't love me, but the attention that he gives me feels so good. Yeah, sex feels all right, but I don't really feel good about it, but I'm trading off. I'm giving him what I know he wants. I'm committing acts that I'm not really into, but I'm doing this because I don't want him to go. I don't want this person or any man in my life to be emotionally unavailable. Even though he's not available emotionally, this man is using you for something. You're playing pretend in your mind. See, he loves me. He loves you as long as you let him get that thing. You understand? He's going to act like he loves you as long as you're giving him that good head. And after it's done, oh, baby, I got to go. I got to get up early. I'm going to stay here with me a little while longer. We allow things to happen. The same with men. They have yearnings, emotions, and they will take punishment just to be in a facade of a relationship that is not truly fulfilling. but he's scared of being alone. And these things mount up as we get older. And we think everybody who leaves this earth is just something natural. Even if it's not the word that you see here in bright yellow letters with the red around it. Those things can cause you to leave out of here from the heartbreak. Do you know how many people out here are heartbroken, hurting? They even say to their loved ones, listen, I'm going through stuff, and that loved one will walk right on past them. Not even acknowledge. They think it's, oh, it's nothing, get over it, because maybe they were jacked up and don't have no damn emotions in them. And then when that person does something to themselves or something to somebody else, or acts or overreacts from the constant disrespect or lack of love, oh, now you're the monster. But like I heard in a verbal meme, either it was on TikTok or Twitter or something, you know how they scroll down or whatever, you know, I say, oh, let me see if there's anything that catches my attention. A woman said, while you tell everybody now that I'm the monster in this relationship, you tell them how much I'm the monster, don't forget to share with them the chapter before that where you made me the monster. I was like, whoa. See what I mean? Because a lot of us can be scapegoated in a family or with in-laws as being the reasons for things that happened 20 and 30 years before that you weren't around for, but because you talk normal and go and in your normal walking steps, you step on family secrets and dysfunctions and whisperings that they don't ever talk about. So you become the bull in the china shop. You become the bad guy. You ain't got nothing to do with that dysfunction, that generational bullshit that's been going on, but you're the one. Because we can't face our own stuff. So we got to project on them and make up different reasons. So even when you find you're the black sheep of your blood family or the black sheep of an in-law family, leave them fuckers alone. Excuse my French. Distance yourself, even if you have to move to another country. It's about you and your mental health and you feeling good. Nobody knows when you're hungry. It's for you to make yourself eat. Nobody knows when you're in the restaurant what you're going to pick off of the menu to eat. You know your favorites. I always say this. You are the only one who's going to be with you for the whole life, every second of your life. Love you, take care of you, but people will have you as a sacrificial lamb, and a lot of us to want to feel like we're a part of will give in just to feel like we belong. You don't belong. They make it you feel you belong because you're serving a purpose to uphold somebody else's dysfunction. Well, if you're the black sheep that way and you're not really the black sheep, walk away and let it collapse. Let the chips fall where they may. Let them have their funerals and you don't go to none of them. You don't want to hear nothing about it. These evil people who try to bring you stress because they see that you have a loving heart. And it's those of us who have a loving heart that end up doing stuff to ourselves because we were severely betrayed. But you got to be the monster sometime. Protect yourself. And if you don't feel you can, always reach out to somebody. You can always reach out to me. I had about 3 calls within the last 7 days for different people. If I'm here drawing or just editing, I don't mind talking. I can't talk for 10 hours now. Sometimes I don't have 30 minutes, but don't do nothing to yourself. Because there are a lot of haters and evil people and demonic forces that won't give a damn. And some will. And more will care for you and love you more than you know. But you just don't know it yet. And sometimes it's that person who you don't know as well. But they see who you are and they admire who you are. I'm going to go on to number 2. We're going to keep talking. Mental health stigma impedes Black people from seeking help. Harris says that stigma surrounding mental health issues and seeking help from mental health professionals has also played a role in rising suicide rates among Black people. A person might think, I'm having these issues, but I will keep them to myself because if I seek help, I will be seen as crazy or weak, says Harris. There's a stigma in the Black community that if you have a mental disorder, it's a sign of a character flaw or weakness instead of what it truly is, a diagnosis that can be treated and managed. This stigma has a myriad of consequences for Black communities, including preventing many Black people from seeking the help they need, causing them to repress their symptoms instead. It has also perpetrated the false notion that Black people do not experience mental illness or suicide. We create and present these images for people to feel that they have to live up to, added Harris. For example, young Black girls often hear the message of the strong Black woman, a persona that promotes expectations of Black women to show tireless strength and prioritize others' needs before their own, which in turn discourages them from practicing self-care and showing vulnerability to loved ones. So some may feel they cannot ask for help. They have to be all things to all people. For young Black boys, they often hear the message that if they seek help, they are weak. Number 3, treatment is often less accessible to Black people. Harris says untreated mental illness is another cause of increased suicide rates among Black people. In addition to stigma, there are many reasons that Black people don't get the help they need for mental health issues, including lack of access to care. When we are talking about suicide and mental health overall, there are access problems we must consider, including lack of access to quality medical insurance and education about how to locate a local mental health provider. And factors such as poverty, lack of medical insurance, and lack of culturally conscious medical providers only makes matters worse. According to the American Psychological Association, 2005 U.S. Census Bureau data showed that Black people were more than 7 times more likely to live in neighborhoods with high rates of poverty and little to no access to mental health care compared with white people, despite having the same risk of mental illness. Furthermore, the APA reports almost 25% of Black Americans are uninsured and more likely to see emergency or primary care health practitioners for mental health related concerns, even though these professionals are not as equipped to treat mental and behavioral health issues as mental health professionals. On top of this, there's a lack of representation among mental health professionals, which makes it difficult for Black people to find culturally competent mental health care or health care that meets a patient's cultural, social, and language-related needs. Only 2% of psychiatrists and 4% of psychologists in the United States are Black, according to the American Psychiatric Association and American Psychological Association. Number 4, Black people continually face racism and discrimination. The murder of George Floyd in 2020 sparked nationwide protests against racism in the United States, which Black people have faced for centuries. For many Black Americans, Harris says, Floyd's murder was a tipping point for increased rates of anxiety and depression related to racism. Let me interject something. We got over there, the Palestine situation and the other ones that are fighting against them. The ones in America, they bitch and moaning about what's going on over there. But if we say something about what we feel, it's this, slavery's over. I want to be better. You're always complaining. We took you out of being a beast and a savage and you live in a civilization that, you know what I mean? We're dismissed. You know what that's like to have an issue and it's dismissed or reduced or ignored? That's a massive slap in the face. But when they have their issues and others in our circles, we're supposed to cry every time they crack a toenail and call the ambulance. And you have some in your circles who will show favoritism. that if somebody else broke their toenail, they call an ambulance. If you fall off the balcony and break your neck, they're going to hand you a Band-Aid. That's the way they treat you. So the hell with that. When they get theirs, you got to do the same thing back to them. Sorry to be vindictive. We got to be around people who care about us. We have to build a circle of support. We just can't deal with who happens to be around us and you know they don't give a damn about you. You might have a sentimental value because you knew these people for so long, or your family, whatever. Family only means DNA sharers. Your family doesn't have to be the one to share the same DNA. You can speak the same language and have the same feel and be kindred spirits, and you all don't look like each other. You all might be from different countries. I don't know, but there's something in common about you that you know that you're going to attach this person to your life for the rest of your life, and they feel the same way about you. You see that? Certainly, George Floyd's death added to the extreme anxiety that many Black people were already experiencing, along with the everyday effects of living with discrimination and racism and the resulting trauma from those experiences, Harris says. Floyd's death is a sobering example of a type of racism called structural racism, racism that pervades public policies, right? Institutions, housing, education, and the justice system, among all areas. Black Americans are at a greater risk of being targeted, profiled, and arrested by law enforcement for minor offenses. And the rate of incarceration of Black people is 6 times that of white people, states the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Structural racism has also caused Black people to be significantly more likely to experience poverty and homelessness. Despite the fact that Black Americans comprise only 13% of the U.S. population, the Alliance reports that 39% of homeless people and more than 50% of homeless families with children are Black. One root cause of these disparities was a practice called redlining, systemic housing discrimination supported by the U.S. government just a few decades ago that discouraged investments such as business and mortgage loans in Black and brown communities, according to the Alliance. I told you yesterday about that dude who came to do the work by the house, and he loved rap music. He told me that 95% of the people in his neighborhood growing up, me and him were the same age, except for a difference of a year or two, that they were Klan supervisors, right? Klan sympathizers, or people in the Klan. And he went on and told me that in Orlando right there, he knows some high-level people who are in those neighborhoods and who grew up in those racist houses. So imagine going to a doctor that smiles with you and tells you everything's going to be all right. And he happens to know your ideology because he sees you on social media. He ran your name on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and sees the things you post up as a person who understands what's going on. And he don't like it. And his family, his folks in the Klan. Well, he's going to administer to you by textbook the proper medication for your ailment, let's just say. But instead of giving you 100 milligrams of this thing, he gives you 300 milligrams. Instead of having you on it for 2 months, he keeps you on it for a year until other things happen. Because medicine in the Western world is actually poison that takes away the symptoms. It doesn't heal you. And if you keep taking the poison long after the situation is over, you're poisoning yourself. So now you end up with something that is fatal or going to kill you. But it was done on a low. The bank loan you didn't get. I spoke about this yesterday. And it's real. And those are stresses. You see what I mean? All of these different types of racism and discrimination have had a significant negative impact on mental health, causing more stress and trauma to Black people on the receiving end. And some mental health care providers can even be a part of the problem. Racist and discriminatory views, whether implicit, unconscious, or outright, can lead providers to categorize mental illness in the Black community as someone having disruptive behaviors rather than someone who is having a health problem and needs help. Such bias, lack of culturally appropriate training among medical providers, and lack of access to mental health treatment in general can all make these mental health problems worse. You have a person that knows what it is but wants to categorize you as being violent and prescribe something to you to just have you sleeping all day, have you docile, when that's not the right way. They'll turn their heads. They don't care about you. You have insurance? Good. You don't? Well, we're going to get you out of here quick. Give me your money. I'm going to prescribe you something that you think is going to make you feel good for a little while. Number 5, many Black people are frequently exposed to violence. Although not all Black people live in impoverished or physically dangerous environments caused by social issues such as structural racism, research suggests that Black people experience disproportionately high rates of exposure to violence compared to white people, according to Mental Health America. That's the other website that I was reading off of yesterday. Like racism, continued exposure to violence may factor into increasing suicide rates among Black people. Witnessing violence and living in communities with increased numbers of violent crimes is another aspect of trauma that may lead to increasing suicide rates among Black people. Ample research has shown the detrimental effects of violence and accumulative trauma. For example, the National Institute of Justice states that exposure to violence can negatively affect a child's development psychologically, emotionally, and physically. Perhaps even more alarming, children who are exposed to violence are more likely to abuse drugs or alcohol, experience school-related difficulties, develop depression or other mental health issues, behave aggressively, and commit crimes as adults than those who weren't exposed to violence. The bottom line, the increasing number of suicides among Black people is likely multifactorial. In addition, additional research is needed to pinpoint exactly what's driving these rates. The research we do have indicates that harmful effects connected to social media use, exposure to racism, mental health stigma, and exposure to violence and accumulative trauma have all likely played a role. According to Harris, key steps to reducing these rates include reframing how mental health issues are viewed and discussed in Black communities, combating potential bias amongst mental health providers, and addressing mental health stigma among Black people. Harris stresses that combating mental health issues in the Black community needs to be a collective effort among people with mental health issues, their loved ones, and medical professionals, and needs to involve dismantling the racist systems that cause many of these mental health issues in the first place. Yes, all of that is facts and all of that is true. And I'm reading this off, and I said some things that I have been through and witnessed. But until we put the boots on the ground and make a change, even if it's known or unknown, stop doing stuff for people and expecting something back. Stop doing stuff for people and taking the bullhorn and telling the world what you did for them. You got to understand that we have no friends. You may have a couple of them who invite you to some kind of organization or whatever so you can be the black dot. There's a little black dot on the sun today. See, I have Black friends. That's all you there for. But ain't none of them putting their neck on the line for us collectively. Where are they? When they go to these protests, they put on the dark glasses, big dark glasses, looking like them cataract glasses you got to wear if you get a cataract operation, right? Them Terminator jammies. They get the hat and pull it down over the top of their head. And usually they go out when it's cold. They don't really come out when it's hot, so they can put a big coat and a scarf on. Then they hold the sign up. When the cameras come, they hold the sign up over their face. I was out there protesting for Black people. You wasn't nowhere near the camera. And those, when they show, let me tell you something too. That whole Black Lives Matter foolishness. You never see me push that on anything I do. And if you damn come to me and tell, well, on Twitter, you had a hashtag. Yeah, so I can reach the people who follow that foolishness. And we get duped into that. I'm not mad at you if you did, because it seemed at first to be something. That was wrong. Oh no, I wasn't touching that one. We shouldn't have to, even the very words of that is not empowering. It's not empowering at all. Black Lives Matter. It's almost like you're saying, please, please, I matter, please. I ain't no damn Black Lives. We know that. We should be more of the steamrolling mentality. We gonna get this and nothing's gonna stop and get in my way. Nothing is gonna get in my way. You might stall me, but we as a community, we need to adopt that mentality. You ain't gonna get it pushing no pencil and paper, sending no article. That's to feed our minds. In internet communication, there's nothing wrong with that, to enlighten us. But once we load up in training and learn how to fight the opponent and learn their weaknesses and condition ourselves to go the full round, the full fight, and we're ready to sacrifice, that's when we make our moves. But we're not ready to do that. Number one, I didn't say the S word. I'm going to say it now. There's going to be more suicides in our community the more we are not unified. Do you step off a cliff, or do you step off say there's a bridge and there's a river going under the bridge. The bridge unifies the two lands. So you can confidently drive on the bridge and over a body of water that you would not be so dumb and foolishly indulge. Well, I'm going to try to drive real fast and maybe I'll launch over like Speed Racer back in the day and land on the other side. It ain't happening, baby. They got a thing called gravity. So the bridge enables you to drive confidently from one side over the river to the other side of the landmass that doesn't exist under you. But if you don't have the bridge that unifies the land, well, you can't get to the other side. You can't even see the people on the other side of where the bridge is or should be. So without that bridge of unity joining us together, as we step, we're going to fall because there's no unity. And when we fall and have a sense of hopelessness and feel that there is no more sun, but nothing but clouds, nothing but gloom, nothing but hopelessness, that we'll have no way out. And it's easier to say, this is not worth it. This pain of being isolated, this pain of being pushed aside, this pain of not being acknowledged, not knowing where to go, just to even guide a person who may, for most people, oh, they're too far gone. Ain't nobody too far gone as long as they're here. It may take more of a severe intervention, but there's nothing too far gone. Because we all were put here by the Creator with special talents and abilities. And we're supposed to execute them. But this world could be very cruel to us. This world could be a thing where as soon as we come out the womb, we're attacked. Different situations in our families. Parents who don't like the children. Daughters, they don't like the daughter, and the mother don't like the daughter, the father don't like the son. Molestations going on. There ain't nobody paying no mind. Do you know what so many of our children have to go through before the age of 5? Before the age of 10? And like that concrete I spoke about earlier, if you don't catch it early enough to smooth it over and correct the situation, it's going to stay like that for a whole lifetime. And it's going to take a whole lot of effort to chip away at that person who wrote their name in the concrete, and part of the concrete rolls up so it's not perfectly flat. And the deeper you put your finger in the concrete to write your name is the higher up the sides go because it pushed up. It's a blemish on your soul that nobody knows about. This is why when you deal with anybody, don't come to them to rip them off, use them for their body, play with their emotions. Fellas, I'll just say this. It may seem harsh, but if you're looking at a woman for sexual gratification, if you see a woman just for her body, do her a favor and tell her that. Now that sounds harsh, doesn't it? I don't want no man telling me that. Well, you know what? Would you want a man to tell you a lie and be with you for 15, 20 years and you find out that's what all it is? And when your body starts drooping, he looking at the next one for more gratification? You see what I mean? That dude at the club who's flirting with you talking about, hey, baby, let's go to the hotel. That's an insult. What kind of woman do you think I am? But you know what? That other one who's promising you a lifetime of love and commitment and you don't mean it, that's worse. This is harsh, but we must digest this. But reach out to somebody this week. Reach out to somebody and let them know that you truly love them and it's not a conditional love. See, conditional love doesn't permeate that deep. Unconditional love goes deep to the core. And you don't even have to tell the person that you love them over and over. But it's that stick-it-to-itiveness and commitment to them and their comfort and their well-being. And to take away that feeling of being vulnerable and make them feel protected because really and truly they are. That on your watch, they are not going to be vulnerable. I commit to you. I'm going to do for you. Whatever you need, I'm going to get for you. Because you know what? At the end of the day, not that you're looking for anything from them, because it's universal law that if you give of yourself righteously, it's going to come back to you when you need it, if you need it. Like I said, there are times in my life where there are people who I didn't even know 6 months ago, a year ago. They've come through for me in different ways that you would not imagine. And your naysayers and your haters are waiting for you to fall, but they can't understand how you're undergirded. They can't understand how all the things and traps they put in your path, you step right on over them. And every step over the trap, you got stronger. How about that? But to get that on a universal plan, a universal level, you got to sign up for it by being that unconditionally for someone else. No unity, no more. No bridge. So we drive off the cliff and fall into the water and wonder why we're not getting nowhere. Everybody else building their bridges. Why can't we? Why don't we? Get your eyes out of the wrong side of social media. Our minds are being conditioned to just think of our sisters as playthings. Yeah, there's an attraction that happens natural, but it's blown out of proportion. People who are doing intense, strong works, usually they have a strong sex drive. We need to be connected, not just sex. They used to call it lovemaking, but you never see that term anymore. And lovemaking just doesn't involve sex. The actual act of lovemaking where all pistons are firing, that's where all pistons are firing. But if you truly made love to, and we're talking adult stuff now. You got to go to work. He got to go to work. She got to go to work. But when you stop for that red light and you just look off, you feel so good. Not just because of the throbbing genitals that you have from the drainage of fluids through orgasm. No. But from the connection that you know totally in your heart, that you can open up to someone and they won't step on your feet. They won't stab you in the heart. They won't put you down and dismiss you. Even still, we can have relationships that don't involve sex at all. And we can deeply love a person. So the motivation doesn't always have to be that. And for a man to offer himself to a woman unconditionally, which we know is rare, but it's there. And those of us who don't know how to do that, brothers, you better get used to it. Because it might be your daughter that commits suicide. If you help somebody, don't help them because they look good. Are you trying to get something out of them? We got to go on a higher level now. We're moving closer and closer to our transition. Every time your eyelashes back, every time you inhale and exhale, every time your heart beats, every time you do a number one and a number two, every time you wake up and then go to bed and repeat the cycle again, you're moving closer to your transition. We don't want to hear that. Why not? It might be a beautiful thing. I think it is. I know I was scared when I was born. Come out the womb where it's nice and warm. You got that bass music of the heartbeat going on and food just going right into you and it's warm. And you come out of the womb and all this bright light and it's cold and some white man smacked you in the back of the head. I knew what kind of life was going to be from way back then. But you learn to love it. You learn to deal with it. You learn to overcome. Don't you realize there was a time when you couldn't even walk? You were crawling and crawling fast until your desire to see things faster made you stand up because you emulated those who were around you who could walk. You look at it, how can they do that? You tried and fell, bust your lip, bust your knee. And you know when you cry, and you crying so hard, and you open up your mouth for like 10 minutes before the cry comes out, you're like, I'm not laughing. It happened to all of us. But you mastered it, didn't you? And now you want to learn how to ride a bike. You fell and bust your knees, but you mastered it. You didn't know how to read, but it was taught to you. And now you can read fluently, right? All these different things. You feel desires. You don't know what they are. And now you understand what sexuality is, but most of us don't understand how it connects to us on different levels. It's something that's really abused these days. And I blame social media, and I blame those who will let this thing, this crack pipe, this mental crack pipe into their mind. That now it's a money-making thing. Women have been hurt by men. So now, okay, you gonna hurt me? That's all you want? Well, you know what? You're gonna pay for it. And in doing so, you think that's mentally healthy? To just see yourself as something to sell because of what somebody sees you as, you got to see yourself as being valuable and precious and get away from those who see you that way and see you the good way. To value you. Yes, you're still sexy, you're still beautiful, but what you got may not be for me. And I can love you. I can love you in a pure sense. To understand who you are. With no hidden agendas and no secret motivations. That is one of the most beautiful things to me as a man, for a woman to feel safe around me. For me to be able to say, I love you, and you don't think that's something coming from a place of lust. That's a satisfying thing. Try it out sometime, fellas. And even to say no sometime to a woman who takes that and doesn't understand it and wants to reward you with something, but say, sister, this is one time you're going to learn that this is real. And you're going to use this proximity in this relationship to understand that it doesn't have to go there. And I am a man and it looks nice. Wow, wonderful. But if you're filled up in your heart with the righteous thought, if you already ate at another restaurant and you smell the sweet scent of another one, you're full already. You all right. And if you're not supposed to go to that restaurant and eat, even if you're hungry, you should know. We should have some discipline and build real relationships where even if that woman doesn't know anybody else, she'll say, you know what? I know Lance is going to give me a straight answer without the motivation of trying to get me in the bed. There are people who accuse me of that. Now that I'm in Africa, what am I? Hung that long, my penis can go all the way over to the Atlantic Ocean and land in your coochie. That can't be the motivation, can it? I ain't got that kind of money to take no plane ticket every week. I'm going to go over there and screw this one. I'm going to go over there and get a blowjob from that one. Come on, man. Come on. I'm 60 years old, y'all. I'm still alive. Parts still work. I'm a man. I've conquered being a male, but I'm a man. But in 40 years, I'm 100. I got a little game going on where I'm trying to make it to that. But even if I do or don't, every day will be intense. See, it makes no sense to live a nondescript life where you're not affecting the people around you and you get to a certain number. And we grant wisdom on people because they hung around long. Oh, he 85 and he 92 years old. God bless him. I'd like to talk to him because he must got some wisdom. You go over there and talk to this old 92-year-old man who, if he's naked, you see his testicles and his penis, they all look the same. They all hanging, dead, nothing happening. But in his mind, he talking to you. Mabel, Ethel, I can't believe what he did. I tried to talk to him about the Lord and some things I needed to hear about, and that old bugger tried to slide his hand up my dress between my legs. So age doesn't mean you got wisdom or control. It's crazy. So be careful who you have around you. And this is more for the people who may be in a better place in their lives, that we need to reach out and not just demand, well, how are you doing? Well, the way you said it, I think something's wrong here. Here's a clipboard and the 10 things that are bothering you. Write them down and tell me. You don't communicate with nobody who's hurting like that. My mother was the best one. I told you how my grandmother passed away and my father came home, and I'll tell you the fast version. She didn't say it right away. She cooked his favorite meal. When she found out long before he came, she went out and got extra ingredients and hooked them up. Let him watch his favorite TV show. Now, there might be parts of the story that they left out that I wasn't supposed to hear. More power to him if they did. But she watched the TV with him. He started to doze. He was full of food. He was tired. He showered and cleaned himself off, and she had clothes, clean clothes waiting for him. So he's slightly dozing. Didn't sleep yet, but he's just there. She could see him relaxing. And she grabbed him, hugged him, cheek to cheek, and said, Lance, because that's my father's name. We had the same name. Lance, our mother crossed over. She didn't say, yo, mama. She didn't wait for him to come to the door, tired, hungry. Hey, you know what? Your mama died. You got people who are like that, who are insensitive to the feelings of someone else. Imagine you have somebody in your life, maybe a mother or father or a brother or whoever, and that's the way they talk to you. I can understand a person who may not be as strong as they need to be because of the trials and tribulations that they go through. That may make them want to jump out a damn window. You got to handle people right. Start at the lowest. Maybe they can take a little more, but start. Take your time with these people. It's rough out here. Everybody doesn't have a full gas tank in this journey of life. I'm not saying they messed up in the head. I'm saying the strength and the resources to keep on moving forward. You don't know by appearance alone if they can still handle things that they could have handled even 3 months ago. What about the brothers and what about the sisters of us who are moving at lightning speed and you think they're successful? But they might be paying their elderly mama's bills. They might be paying their niece's school fees. They're viewed as making good money, but they don't have as much at the end of the day. And like it was stated earlier in the article, they have to be everything for everybody around them. You don't have to be just a parent to have that responsibility. You can be a child who has these things put on you. That when things go wrong because you're the one who's doing better financially or you're the one who's doing better emotionally, that you're the rock of Gibraltar for them, that they could stand on. We can depend on you, and then you don't want to let them down. That's a heck of a pressure. Anyway, we're going to be back later on today, and we're going to come back tomorrow with something that will help us. It'll come to me. You can suggest it to me. If you want to roll it back and go deeper, we can do that too. And understand that I'm one who believes that every topic we speak on, we can talk about it with surgical precision, 50, 100, 1,000 different ways from different angles. See? So that means we can always talk about this and anything that we've talked about. You go into the archives on LANCESCURV on YouTube, go to LANCESCURV.com and look at all the old videos, articles, anything we've talked about and discussed, and we can find a different angle. I'll find it. Just point it out. Let's talk about this again. Okay. Do you suggest an angle or different perspective because of your own personal experiences? Yay or nay? Well, don't worry. I'll come up with one for you. You know, it's just like when they say when a person's arrested, if you do not have an attorney, one will be assigned to you, which those are the ones you don't want. They don't care. Jacking your name up when they call you. SCURV, eating donuts. Got 50 other cases for the day. So we got to address these things because you know what? It's like we're buckets that have holes in it. And we're trying to fill up water and we just keep pouring in water. We're exhausted. Man, I've been pouring water all day long and this bucket's not filled. Cut the water off and fill up the holes. Figure out where the holes are in our life. Block them up, because if we don't, we can't be good to anybody else in our life while we work double shifts and loan out money and encourage. Look, that's not negative to do the nice things, but those are holes in your life if you don't block them up to be able to retain the water that you need to give them. So self-care and maintenance is something that you have to do, and don't let anybody make it seem as though you're selfish because you're not just exhausting yourself 24/7. If you got the nerve to say that, then you can pick up your ass and do something too. Because I'm the designated driver of the entire family's lives, symbolically, I'm not saying they drunk, but the one who doesn't drink that goes to the nightclub with all the other brothers that drink, well, you know, you're the one who's going to have to drive or lose some friends that night or kill some other people. So stop being that for everybody. Share the load, because I can tell you some stories of things that I know from experience dealing with other people and dealing in my own life. Preserve yourself. It's not selfish to do so. And if you see somebody else that's being sucked down from somebody else who's a leech in their life, you got to subtly step to them, because, you know, you got to be careful when you suggest things or try to open up somebody's eyes about their mate or their family who's sucking them down. We all know the stereotypical situation. And I've been through that. I used to be a bouncer in a club in Orlando. I used to see people in the street. I see men that would beat down their women. And you go to jump in the middle of it. Maybe somebody else jumps in the middle and beat down the guy. I'm not saying I did. And that woman who just got beat down, when the cops come, she's trying to press charges on you. Oh, he hit my man. But who punched you in your eyes to make it seem like two red vaginas? Can't even see out your eye, looking like Rocky III. And they'll turn around on you. So when you suggest to someone of something you see, you gotta be very subtle and speak in a roundabout way, not even on them, and drop a little bit on them. Let a week or two go by. Take your time and surgically remove their mind from that domination, from that abuse. You see what I mean? So that's what it is. Anyway, it's been good. I got a few things to do. I got hungry again. Talked so much, my throat got dry, but I love it. I told you I'll dedicate some time every day to speaking on these subjects. And if you want to go to the Patreon and donate $1 every month, I may not always upload stuff there because I'm doing it here. But if you want to support, just give $1. If I get 1,000 people to do that, I can do more. I can get more. This equipment's running down. There's going to be a time I might come and say, hey, my computers are busted. I can't do the show. I'm not trying to twist anybody because there's other shows to watch. But all I'm saying, don't think I'm some rich billionaire sitting up on top of the hill. This is a labor of love, and it's something I've always been doing, and I've committed not to stop. And I'm always going to do it. And I'm always here for you to talk to. And, oh God, I'm just seeing this. Above all that drama, I have a hateful family that celebrated my wife's sudden death. I'm sorry to hear that, but that's real. Did you have an inkling that they would feel that way? Because already you telling me that I already know that your wife represented something to you that it stopped them from foolishness or access to finance or something. But how could you even do that? See, I know I'm in situations in life where if something happened to me, ha ha ha, Lance is gone. I know that. But see, these people have to be very careful in what they celebrate. Because after they transition, where are they going to end up? I'm not talking about the traditional heaven or hell. But that kind of spirit is not acceptable. This is why when you notice people around you, don't hesitate to cut them off, let them know who they are. They'll run around and say you crazy, but you'll have more peace of mind. I'm not saying that to you above all that drama. I'm just saying. Oh, Hayes, okay. Might be time to crash out. This is it. What's up, Hayes? What you mean by that, brother? Might be time to crash out. Like sleep or if we got to talk, we'll talk, brother. But I've been doing a lot out here. But I've been trying to hold down, keeping the shows going. And I thank you for your appreciation and the time spent. Share it, like it. If you don't like it, thumbs it down. It's okay. I'm going to keep on doing it. I learned some amazing things in recent days. There is a lot of envy and jealousy and hate and stuff. I don't know what to do for you when you feel that way. I can't do nothing for you, man, like Flavor Flav. You jump from the jelly into the jam. I can't do nothing for you because I'm not trying to put out divisiveness and hate and envy. I just ply my trade every single day for years, you know? Indeed. There are people out here, they're not human. They're demons in flesh. We got to start or stop with the soft gloves with these people. They have the intention in their heart. You ain't going to get the chance once I find out what's in your heart. Because I'm going to smash you. I'm going to get you first. No. I'm 60 years old. I keep saying that. It's not an age thing. What I'm saying is that I put time in with the bullshit. I'm not taking it anymore. So when I see you got this thing in your heart, boom, you gone. Just like Robert De Niro, when he hit that dude, what was it, the Untouchables, with the baseball bat when he was walking around the table, he just started smashing homeboy. Everybody's sitting there looking like, damn, I can't have no thoughts against him. I'm mafia with it. I'm mobster with it now. For my peace of mind, you got to know to protect yourself at all times. Because just as much as you may have haters, you have others on the other side who are pulling for you. You have people that you don't even know, maybe in passing, that love you. But if we really saw what's really out there, you'll understand that you're going to have to take care of yourself. And when you find somebody who looks to care for you and is interested in you, open up to them. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. There's nothing wrong for understanding that your emotional and mental gas tank is low and it needs to be filled. On that note, I'm going to move on. Lady J, Conjure Woman, everybody here, know that I love you. And I'm going to continue to do more shows this week. And tonight at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Brother Neil Frazier. I'm going to make the link for that shortly. It's not made yet. I'm going to grab a bite to eat, maybe a shower, and I'll make that link and I'll post it up and do the work that SCURVs do. Anyway, I'm going to move on right now, but I'm always here with you. You can always reach out to me. We got shows to take care of and deal with. It's just a wonderful thing. So on that note, much love to you all. Take care.
We wore silken robes, slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise, on his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.